Hi, I'm Johnny Ace, and welcome to my channel. Today we're talking about presidents. You know, those boring guys you see on the bills and they make one-hour speeches about the importance of not doing stupid things? Well, forget about diplomacy and handshakes. Behind the scenes, these guys were absolutely crazy. That's what they did when they thought the cameras or the portraitists weren't watching. Get ready because it's bad stuff. Andrew Jackson, the man who couldn't shut up. Jackson was known for his irascibility and took part in about 13 duels. One left him with a bullet in his chest for life. This guy didn't solve problems. He tackled them at close range with 2 guns. He was basically the toxic gamer of the 1800s. Pissed off like a cocaine addict in abstinence. He wasn't president. He was a brawler on Brawl Stars. His domestic parrot, Pole, had to be removed from his funeral because he kept blaspheming loudly in a vulgar manner. Wait, his parrot, which, presumably, had learned his best words by listening to the president at home. So imagine the funeral, all in mourning, and then squawk, Waffen, and other things I can't say on YouTube. Jackson was so vulgar that even his bird was obscene. A true patriot.
Shut the fuck up! Go track some pigeons for my mother-in-law, fool!
Lyndon B. Johnson. LBJ used to hold cabinet meetings while sitting in the cabinet, forcing advisors to talk about politics from a disadvantageous position. Imagine, Mr. President, what do you think of the Cuban crisis? Great question, Chuck, but first give me the toilet paper. I finished it. It was the most disgusting power move in political history. No one has ever dared to contradict him in those conditions. He also loved to show everyone, including journalists, his gallbladder surgery scar. He simply lifted her shirt in the middle of a press conference. People would ask him about taxes. He would say, "Do you want taxes? I'll give you the scar." It's the political equivalent of showing your broken finger at a party to look interesting. LBJ, not just president, but also naked-chested showman. Thomas Jefferson, the archaeologist of embarrassing bones. Jefferson was obsessed with mastodon bones and collected dozens of them, trying to prove that giant creatures still lived in the American West to counter European scientists. So, while America was literally falling apart, Jefferson was in his studio doing the Sherlock Holmes of dinosaurs. His plan was, "Hey, Europa, our wildlife is better than yours. Look at these giant bones." He wasn't a president. He was a scientific troll from the 1700s, fixated on a paleontological beef. He was so serious that he asked Lewis and Clark to keep an eye on one alive during their expeditions. Imagine Clark writing in his diary, "I saw a beautiful view today. And also, no mammoth. Sorry, Jeff." The first and most embarrassing plot to create Jurassic Park. Richard Nixon, the paranoid who talked to paintings. Richard Nixon was a complex man. And by complex, I mean he had the emotional balance of a downhill shopping cart. In addition to the Watergate scandal, he had some secret habits that made him incredibly strange. After firing his national security advisor, Henry Kissinger, Nixon was so shaken that he began to speak out loud with the portrait of George Washington hanging in the White House. Imagine the scene. Midnight, White House, dim lights, and Nixon complaining to a dead man from 1799. "George, what would you have done? Would you have bombed Vietnam? Or would you just have made a nice, boring speech? Answer, damn picture." He was so paranoid that even the walls had to feel involved in the conspiracy. He wasn't a president. It was that guy at the party who, after the 5th glass, started giving life advice to the houseplant. He also loved to have Swiss cheese served on crackers and a glass of skimmed milk. For a man who orchestrated the biggest political scandal, he had the diet of an 8-year-old boy on a school trip. The commander-in-chief of crackers and milk, ready to conquer the world armed with calcium and vitamin D. A real tough guy. So, to recap, the guy was waging war, spying on the Democrats, and then consoling himself by chatting with portraits of his heroes while munching on cheese and drinking milk. The next time you see a picture of him, imagine him staring into the void and asking for advice from a flower pot. The story is wonderful. So the next time you see a president on TV, remember, underneath the jacket and tie, there's a crazy, angry man who teaches a parrot how to swear, has meetings on the toilet, and collects giant bones. Politics has always been stupid. Leave a like if you think we should elect a parrot. See you next time. Hello from Johnny Ace.